Hello everyone! Welcome to Wednesday night! Very cold night here in the Foreman household. Our heater decided to stop working. But that's okay, that just means I get to dress up extra fancy for you in a nice blazer. What do you think of that? Good art blazer? Alright, I'm going to try this technique, this crazy technique that I've watched a couple tutorials on. I've never done it personally, so we're going to find out how me as a person is able to follow a tutorial. We've established that I can make them. Can I follow them? So, in this zany scheme, if you watched my Pip-Boy tutorial, you'll recall that I used pepper for some of the rust, like to add some grit and grime. Now this technique uses salt, so that's pretty cool. I can use both salt and pepper to create rust techniques if this works out. So what have I done on this so far? I've assembled it. You guys saw some of that process going on. And then I painted it, just spray painted it with a rust colored base coat. And then I went in with some yellow ink and just kind of dotted it around kind of randomly. And the idea is that this is, oh, and then after that I sealed it all with a matte spray sealer, which I don't know, I'm not feeling the matte part of that. Looks pretty shiny to me. It's at least satin, but I don't know. We'll see if that's a big deal or not. But anyway, I'm trying to get the general vibe of this guy, right? Where it's pretty ambiguous what that surface is. It's like kind of wood and kind of rusty metal. I don't know. What I'm thinking is, see, it's got all these blue tones in it, which I feel throws me off, but on further reflection I decided, wait a minute, that blue is not the actual pigment of the surface. That blue is light color reflection, right? Because the artist Dan Seagrave, he was clearly doing a contrast thing. He's got this red and black background, and to bring something to the foreground, you use a close to complementary color. So he used some pale blues in there, but it's only like being cast up from certain sides. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess it's not actually about It's not a blue thing. It's not metal at all. So I'm going to go for like a driftwood sort of look. So it's going to have that brown rusty color, but it's not necessarily rust per se. But I'm still going to try this technique just because I think it looks really cool and all the examples that I've seen. So yeah, this is what I'm going to be doing for most of the night. I'm also going to be working on this other piece that I've titled The Sickness Within. I don't know what I have. This one's just called Triptych because it's just straight up triptych. Alright. I also need water. And don't let me forget to film this for my tutorial. I can't wait. I hope I ordered my new camera, by the way. I ordered it yesterday. $1,000. That hurts. But it's super awesome. I played with my friend's camera. That's the same one that I'm ordering, and I was really happy with it. It's got all the features I need, and I'm hoping that I can both use it as a live casting, webcasting, streaming, whatever. Use it as that, but also record at the same time, because that'll be really helpful, because I like to, sometimes I need to get footage for full-blown tutorials, not just for streams. So, we'll see how that works. I don't know how I got off on that tangent, but Dottie! Hello, Dottie! Yep, I've got my warm blazer because it's very cold in here. And Linda, welcome. And Mordakaida says, Herms. Okay, YouTube has stopped asking me for my real name. Only took them 4 years. I knew if I waited long enough. Huh. I don't know if it ever asked me for my real name. But that's probably because I just instantly gave them my real name. Okay, so the way this technique is supposed to work is that the salt is going to act as a mask. And it's going to stick wherever I put water. And furthermore, I want to get kind of a variety of salt sizes. Want it kind of variegated, so I think, let's see, can I actually unscrew this lid? That's a good question. Looks like I may not be able to. Let's see, if I grind it, turns out really tiny. I think I have some larger salt grain things in a little pour thing. Let me grab that real quick. Alright, I've got coarse sea salt, and I got some iodized, just regular table salt. I'm just going to mix these all together. I'm guessing as I learn this technique, I'll find like what works best, and I might do like, you know, oh, this part of it I should use the coarse stuff, and this stuff I should use the finer powdered stuff. I don't know. For now, I'll just mix them together and see how that looks. And what's my rule about trying new techniques on a sculpture? Always try it on the back first. Okay. I really have no idea what kind of brush I should use for this. I'm not sure how sloppy I want to get with it. I think I'll start with this long one that's semi-ruined because I must have left it in some kind of paint for too long. Hey, Frag, welcome. Guild Wars 2 players here? Oh, there's usually some of those lurking around. Onassis, what's up? Mordecai Day is currently playing. Hopefully you're playing my Mad King jumping puzzle tower thing. That's what everyone should play all the time. I'm just kidding. No one should ever play that. I'm also kidding about that. People who enjoy that kind of thing should play it. So, I don't know if you can see that from there, but check out what happens when I apply water. Just instantly beads up because of that clear coat I have on there. So we can smear it around, but that doesn't. See, I thought by doing a matte coat it wouldn't have this problem. Probably because I didn't use the miniatures matte coat spray paint. I used just like a hardware store clear coat, which probably has different properties. Let's just see what happens when I just slather this on. Why don't I just pour some of this on? I'll definitely get all the little cracks and crevices. You know what, Mordecai and Frag, I just want to take a moment to sincerely thank you for playing Guild Wars 2. It occurs to me that it's because of you guys that I'm able to have the financial freedom to be able to spend my evenings and weekends making educational videos instead of having to do you know, other type of work to make more money to survive. So by your playing Guild Wars 2, you are actually providing a service to humanity by facilitating an artist to educate. Think about that. Alright, I think that's enough for this little experimental area. Now to just add salt. Salt and pepper to taste, but without the pepper. Go ahead and just do a full spread with the old grinder. Hit some of these puddles. Oh, that's a lot. I wonder then, if I go in, can I spread some of this around in interesting ways once it's clumped up with the water? Mordecai says, Mad King jumping puzzle smashed. Nice. I've been playing Guild Wars since Guild Wars 1 day. Whoa, very cool. I remember making Guild Wars 1 all by myself. I mean, practically. Given the amount of employees we had back then compared to now. I think that's a healthy brush right there. Okay, so the idea is, with all that salt on there, got a very salty sculpture. And I don't remember if I should wait for the water to mostly evaporate and or the salt to soak in. No, I'll try the fast way first, and if it doesn't work, well then I'll know next time to do it the slow way. Some of these areas are just a little out of control. Especially around the worms. I don't want it to look like it's rusted around the worms because that would make it seem like they've always been there. All right. I'm gonna see if I can get the camera. No, actually, I'm gonna spray paint this, which should take 20 seconds tops, off camera. And if I've determined that this works, I'll get the camera over there for the next spray. So, one moment. Alright, I'm gonna let that hang out dry for a couple minutes. And while that's happening, get this guy set up. All right. I wonder if it's not a good thing that it sparked when I plugged it in. Probably not. Oh, there we go. It's alive? What's alive? What are you guys talking about? Something was alive while I was gone? I need to kind of figure out what's going to be going on beneath the surface of this piece. Oh, you can cut these at a certain, I think. Is that true? Any LED masters, let me know. The camera was thumping like a heartbeat. Oh. I'm glad something was here to entertain you while I was gone. Okay, power supply, blah, blah, blah. Please note that it needs to connect arrow to arrow. Okay. Please stretch the strip when it's powered in order to avoid the overheat after they roll up for a while. Okay. How to use. Tips. Alright, none of this is telling me. I swear I saw when I bought this, it said that at these little junctions you could cut the strip down to a size you need. Oh, maybe it's these junctions. What do you guys think? Anyone know anything about LEDs? Mordecata says, not an LED expert. If you need your computer fixed or a book checked out, I can help you. No, that's not going to help me at this point. The light comes in. Oh wow, it actually does generate a little bit of heat. I thought the point of LEDs was that they don't generate heat. Maybe they are at a ridiculous brightness. Let's see if I can turn the brightness down. Here's this guy. Okay. That's a little better. Onassis says, yeah, I got LED lights. Are you the one who has the same set? And if so, do you know if I can cut these? Because I don't need all 200 or however many there are. Linda says, cut between the copper dots. Yeah, that seems to be what my memory is telling me as well. So I'm going to want to have this box in here. So I wonder if, I probably want the cord coming out the bottom. Lift them up so you can see them. Okay. Which part? Like this part? So it looks like each strip has that kind of silver little knobbies and then copper knobbies, and those alternate silver and copper. NASA says you can cut them. Cool. Now I just gotta figure out where I want to cut them. I want to go around here, back this way. I might need to carve down into this more if I want to have the lights consistent. Amy, hello, welcome. Onassis says that's where you cut them off if you want to put a adapter. Not sure what you mean by an adapter. I mean, they go to this thing here, and then this thing gets plugged in. Isn't this an adapter? This is an IR remote control input. No, IR remote control. Input voltage DC 12 volts, blah blah blah. Output current 6 amps max. I don't know what this little guy is for. A load, apparently? IR receiver and load. What's a load? Anyone know what a load is? Alright. Wish these were a little more flexible. That I can probably manage with how much, because I've got, you know, a good 2 or 3 inches of depth, so I can bend them down there to a certain degree. Alright, it seems. Huh. I'm going to need to fill that in. I'm going to need to drill down here a little bit. Mark that out real quick. I learned that I could erase Sharpie off of this resin with alcohol, so don't have to worry about leaving marks behind anymore. Needs a fill. I think I'm going to fill in that part too. A little bit of fill here. This part, I guess I just need to put a backing on it, I guess. Or maybe it doesn't glow, I don't know. We'll see. And I'm just now noticing this is not supposed to be there. Just snap it off. Well, I think, just to be safe, I'm going to give myself another length or two. All right. And I'm going to unplug the power before I cut. It's because I'm not a fan of electrocuting myself. And it still works. Hallelujah. JD Robertson, what's up? Been enjoying the channel. Thanks, JD. Thanks for stopping by to let me know. Did you see my hot glue bugs video I just posted the other day? So I'm gonna have to decide how to resolve places where the sculpture ends, right? Like I want this to be a hole out of which centipedes are pouring. Just gonna put all this kind of gross webbing and stuff to kind of obfuscate what's going on back there. But I need to have this area where it's flat go down into there somehow. I also need to cover this area because right now it goes up and under, and so you would see the lights if it doesn't get blocked off there. JD says, I first found you from the Sculpey 101 vids, been watching the rest slowly over time. Good stuff, you make great art, thanks for sharing. Thank you, JD. Mordekaida says, I've been enjoying the Colossus vids. Awesome. Yeah, that is one epic project. I literally have no idea how long it's going to take me to finish editing those. Hopefully not too long, because I want to get them out before I finish, or before I release my cutscene subversion project, which is an even bigger massive project that I started in 2010. I have all this footage of me dressed as Link and John Marston and generic Space Marine from 2010. That's just been sitting on my hard drives waiting for me to get to editing and all the like interstitial stuff. But I'm hoping that my Colossus video, once I have the whole thing out, I'm going to make like a quick 1 minute, you know, like Bored Panda style promotional video for it, and I hope that gets me a bigger platform for which to release my cutscene subversion project. All of which is to say, boy, I have a lot of stuff to do. Amy, calling someone a newbie. How could you? You're gonna start hazing people now? Oh, there's literally a guy named Newbie Artist. I missed that. I didn't think that sounded quite like you, Amy. You don't seem like the hazing type. Newbie says, "Is that a Minotaur?" Not exactly. It's a demon from the band DemonHunter. All right. Now I have a better idea of what actually needs to be carved away, which is quite a bit, assuming I want to get the lights up in there. Definitely want to get the lights up into this horn. I'm trying to think of the best tool for this too. Yeah, there's a big chunk down there I need to get to. Alright, we'll come back to this after I check out what's going on with my salt paint. So, here's the theory. If I brush the salt off, that leaves the rusty splotches and a really natural pattern underneath. Let's see how close to reality that actually is. Some of it's still wet. I'm guessing if I let it sit for longer, the salt will dry out and it'll probably fall away easier. But for the sake of this first experiment, it's fine. Amy is saying, is this a different camera? It'll randomly go into slow-mo. Yeah, I'm seeing that on my end too. I think it might be my computer is just old and slow and bad. But we'll see. When I get my new camera, which Amazon says I should get it by Friday, so hopefully for Saturday's stream, I'll have my new fancy camera, and we'll see if the problem persists. I definitely like how randomized this is making the rust splotches. Probably going to do one more practice on this side before I move to the front. This time I'll put it right under my portable heater and see if that dries the salt out faster. Huh, I feel like it slows down whenever large movement happens. Sometimes. Maybe that's random. Anyway. Let's go ahead and do some more water and stuff. Newbie, are you making a Chinese language joke? Ni hao. I wonder if using water that has some salt diluted in it, how that's going to change things up. Since I accidentally diluted salt in there, I guess we're going to find out. I'm wondering if there's a place where I want it to be really rusty. If I take some water and actually spray it down. Newbie artist said something in Japanese, but they don't know what it says? Oh my. That could be scandalous. Newbie says it's a snow minotaur. Sure, that's a valid interpretation. Amy says it says Hi Genki Desu and Minotaur. Huh. Well, spraying it seems to dissolve the what is this? My pink Himalayan salt, the powdery salt that can just go back in and re-powder that area. All right, let's get most of the drippy water off. I'm gonna manually jam some salt in this hole because that hole definitely needs to be rusty. Okay, stick this under my heater. Yes, Amy, it is very fancy salt, directly from the Himalayan mountains. I had it helicoptered to my house. Newbie says, Josh, what country and state do you live in? Is it kosher? Question. The state I live in is Washington State. Yes, it is a kosher state. It has been blessed by rabbis. Alright, so I'm gonna try to see what happens when I use my loud cutty mix saw. And if that doesn't work, I will move to the Dremel tool. But Dremel tool makes so much dust, I try to avoid it. maybe you guys could help me brainstorm. How do I display my sculptures back here and work right here where I'm creating a bunch of dust and paint spatters and whatever else happens here? I suppose I could put like a plexiglass surface over all these things. At some point I'm going to have to go in and do a lot of cleaning on them to fix them. But man, that would cost a lot to plexi over that. Although, there's got to be a cheap, just cheap, cheap. No, some kind of transparent cover, because it doesn't need to be strong. I'm thinking there's that like window sealer you put over for winter sealing your windows, and then you like heat it. I think I used that on my back door, sliding glass door, not long ago. I think I may have just solved my own problem, guys. And Newbie is saying the salt, not the state. I knew what you meant, Newbie. I was teasing you. But I'll just check real quick. It's disposable, and it's an adjustable grinder. Recycle, packed in the USA. No, it does not say it's kosher, I'm afraid. So don't spill this on any Jews or Muslims, because it will burn their skin. That's what I assume that means. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the volume for a moment whilst I make really loud sounds. Amy is saying another sheet of paper or plastic. I don't know if I heard the cue right. Mordecai is saying install a pull-down window blind. I'd like it to not be something that I always have to like adjust. I'd like if it was just a display type thing. Okay, going into silent mode. Alright, this is really irritating me. This thing keeps shaking loose, which means the vibrations aren't making it to the cutty part. Newbie artist said, you dyed your hair Super Saiyan? Yeah, like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago. JD Robertson said the cheapo poster size frames at Walmart have thin clear plastic on them. Might be able to buy those and use the plastic. Yeah, that was actually the first thing I thought of. I guess I haven't checked Walmart, but most poster frames I see are like $40, and there's no way they're big enough to cover what I need to. I could put multiple ones together, but then there's going to be seams, ugly seams. Although I guess if the seam happened like right at, you know, the shelf levels, that wouldn't be bad. I would just need a poster frame that was long enough to go from one side to the other. I want to look into that. I like that idea better than flexible plastic. Sorry guys. You guys, you forgot to remind me, I need to have the camera running on this. What do I even pay you guys for? Dottie Burke says, what about Mylar? Mylar? That's a word I've heard, and I have a vague idea of what it is, but I don't even know what it is or where you get it. Newbie Artist said, I heard that background song before. Where did you find it? It is from a band called Ambient Theology. J.D. Robertson says, I think they're like $10 each. Yeah, that's what I was thinking with the shelves. Super clear, reflective, strong plastic. The trick is going to be to make sure that they're not reflecting all the lights when I'm doing my tutorials. Otherwise, there's just going to be all these bright, reflective, white shapes behind my head instead of cool sculptures. Onassis says, this is coming out great. Well, thank you. Amy says, you don't? I say, I don't. Okay. Let's get this camera cooking. Oh, nice, it's already in focus. No card in the camera. What? Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to get my new camera, you guys. It has a card reader on the side of the camera, so you don't have to like open the battery compartment constantly to swap out your cards. Okay. Dottie is saying, Mylar is a clear plastic. You can get it on a roll like wallpaper. You can order it online. Mordecai says, I use Mylar at work. Cool. Tell me more about Mylar and how you use it. All right. I can't even hear myself talking right now. Probably should have wore earplugs. Whew. There's a lot of cutting. Let's see what you guys had to say. I don't know what's going on, but I like it, says Terminal Montage. Jeremy. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, I try not to have streams where it's silent and I'm just doing a repetitive thing over and over. But I'm kind of in the, like, bouncing between two different projects, and this thing has to dry. Well, so yeah, I'm just biting the bullet and doing it. 1 second. Oh, so much for my nice fancy blazer. Probably shouldn't have put that there, huh? All right. Let's see. Is there a non-dusty way to get rid of this? JD says there's a plastic they sell in the hardware department to winterize your windows to keep the cold out. You frame the area in with double-sided tape, stretch the plastic over it. Then you use a hairdryer on the plastic, tightens up crystal clear to see the window. That actually might work better. Yeah, I was literally just saying that before I went silent. You're right that it goes really nice and clear. I'm probably going to have to do a test. What I should do is get one poster frame and see how reflective that is. Oh, actually, hold on a sec. Got part of a poster frame right here. Let's see if that went there. Does that make a crazy glare? I'll do some tests. The thing I'd be concerned about with the thin, stretchy saran wrap type plastic is that it could, you know, I bump it and then there's a hole in it, and then you have some weird visual anomaly there that I either have to replace the whole darn thing, or it's just going to look weird. So I don't know. Salt and sawdust. Quite the mixture. I'm on the last boss of Salt and Sanctuary, which is a very different kind of game than Salt and Sawdust. See how well this thing's been drying. Not as fast as I thought it would. There's still a lot of moisture in places. Although I can see the places where it has dried out. It's got a pretty nice texture on there. I think that'll turn out really, really well. So yeah, I'm going to give this some more drying time. Okay, so, which leads me back to this guy. I think I need to cut a little more right there. Drat. Okay. This will just take a moment, I promise. Alrighty, so now I get to put backing on this so that I can put the lights in this so that it will look awesome. Let me double check and make sure I've got all the stuff carved that needs to be carved. Looks pretty alright. Yeah. Okay, good. So I think what I'm going to do, So, let me show you what I did over here. I filled in this gap with where'd it go? The freeform air to give it kind of an organic backing. So if you there are little holes you can kind of see through, and I don't want it to look like, you know, unnatural back there. So I'm thinking I'm going to do that over the whole everything. And what I'm trying to figure out now is if I do that, well, okay, now that I say it out loud, I don't know what my problem is. I'm just gonna do it. Just gonna do it. Let me grab the stuff. I love this stuff. Freeform air, it's great. What I don't love is when I have a special tinting material that works great for this, and I specifically put it away, and now it's specifically gone. That's my least favorite. Oh, maybe I put it in the kitchen so it wouldn't get cold. One sec. That is, in fact, exactly what happened. This is stuff called So Strong liquid urethane colorant. But yeah, it works with most of this kind of stuff. JD says, what is the skull made out of? I may have missed it. The skull is resin. It's like a translucent resin. I made a mold and cast several copies of it. One of which is this guy. I just painted over the translucency of it. And one of which is that guy, which I mounted on some old wood and tried to make it cool. So I'm doing 3 different versions. Okay, first things first, I'm going to be transferring from my gigantic buckets to my little buckets. Come on, it's only slightly on there hard. Mordecai says, good night everyone, I have to work in the morning. See you next live stream. Awesome, hope to see you again. Okay, pro tip, if I could remember this, I'm only remembering it because I've got it happening right now, but when you transfer this stuff, do use one hand for part A and a different hand for part B. Otherwise, you're going to mix your stuff and have little lumps of semi-hardened material in your bucket. Looks like I need to order myself another massive bucket full. This stuff has been so useful, and it's not as expensive as most other smooth-on products, so another reason why I'm so enthusiastic about it. Alrighty, so I'm going to mix up a batch of this and I'm going to tint it to be about the same color as this rose gold color, honey-ish color wood. Colton says the lag, slow-mo plus music makes this feel so dramatic. That was the plan. Production value. Okay, let's see. I'm thinking I need some basic background. Oh, sorry about that. Some basic background to attach to this. Could use this clear plastic. And I hid my pen from myself. There it is. Now, will this cut or will this just shatter into splinters? Stay tuned. Dottie says, so that clear plastic looks pretty much like the Mylar I was talking about. All right. Huh. Ow. So it shatter cuts is what it does. And sends little splinters up to hit me in the eyeball. Actually kind of a pretty cool pattern it creates where it splinters. Okay, I can get away with just taping this to the back because the stuff that I paste onto it will hold it forever. But I just need it in a basic spot until that stuff dries. Which also makes me remember I should put a groove for the plug thingy to go in. Okay. A couple moments of silence. Yeah, I need some intermission music that I could just turn on, like that Monty Python Holy Grail music. All right. Oh, right. So one of that's what was causing me pause. Was I was thinking, since I'm going to be putting all this stuff in here, do I want to actually have the lights embedded in it? Because I can put the clay in there and then like put the light strips in and cover up everything that's not like the light, so make it so it doesn't have electronic looking stuff on it. I'm thinking because that's probably going to be more of an artistic job that will take more time, I should do that as a separate pass. So this pass will simply be to fill in the background and smooth into the edges. Okay, so what color is this? It's definitely got some yellow. And it's a little orangey. It's got some black parts too, but I don't want to mix black into the whole thing. I'll do a little bit of brown. always good to have these open and ready to go before you mix your stuff. Oops, I'm making an ooze with that brown stuff somehow. That didn't sound good, did it? Gonna want a pretty good chunk of stuff here. So I'll do about a baseball size of each part. Fun fact about this material is it actually floats on water. If you want to make things that float on water, I don't know, rubber duckies that aren't made of rubber, or small stones, you could use this stuff. That's the bonus secret second Monty Python reference of the evening. I'll know who my real friends are by who LOL said that. Okay, let's get some color in here. I'm gonna rub all my brown stuff all over it. It's never good when your brown stuff is leaking all over the place. Damon got it. What else floats on water? Okay, I'm going to do mostly yellow. This yellow does not go as far as the other colors. And just a touch of red. Now, I really don't mind if there's streaks in here, because there's streaks in the wood. It just occurred to me. The other thing that occurred to me is that I hadn't completely mixed this before I added the color, so that opportunity is kind of come and gone. No, it hasn't actually, because I can use this as the base color, and I can add a couple more drops of other colors and only partially mix them and still end up with stripes. Not the movie starring Bill Murray from like 1980, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. It's the first rated R movie I saw. I was probably like 10 years old, and it was at a friend's birthday party. Their parents let them watch it. That movie is not appropriate for children. Okay. I think there was like a law in the 80s that if you were a comedy movie, you had to have exposed breasts. Must have been a law. That's the only explanation for why every single comedy in the 80s had that feature. Okay, let's see if this streaks like I'm hoping. Clawton says, my first rated R movie was The Ring, R.I.P. Oh, wow. You know, I still haven't seen The Ring, but I've seen enough imagery from it to tell that it's probably pretty darn creepy, especially for a young person. Terminal Montage says Airplane was rated PG and had boobies. You mean the birds with the webbed feet? Okay. That is just too red now. I'm gonna add more brown. Yeah, you know, I put in just a few drops of red, but that was too much. Let me try to balance it out with more yellow. The Burbs! That's right. Comedies in the 80s were required by law to either have exposed breasts or burbs with webbed feet. I don't know why I'm fretting over this color so much. I'm probably going to end up just like painting over it regardless. But I have this completionist streak in me. It's like I think I'm going to get an achievement unlocked if I match this color somehow. Alright. Looks like a delicious pizza dough. Now the downside to this stuff is it sticks on your gloves something terrible to the point where it becomes useless to even wear the gloves anymore. So time for a new pair. Damon says, my parents let me watch Evil Dead when I was a kid. I think when my kids were probably 12, I let them watch Army of Darkness. That's probably, I don't think that's quite as scary as Evil Dead. JD said, what about Bob Was Awesome with Bill Murray? Yes, it was. I just recently watched that again, like last year. That really is a delightful movie. Really well done. Death therapy. Start with baby steps, and eventually you graduate to death therapy. Can't remember what's his face's name? The guy from Jaws. He was the doctor. What was his name? Doctor whatever it was. It was like, Doctor Whatever's a genius. His death therapy cured me. His genius. Or some kind of song like that. It's pretty good. Okay, water is what I need. Damon says, Army of Darkness is quite a bit more slapstick. I saw that in the theater for my 11th birthday. Yikes. Yeah, like, it's one of those things where, like, kids often don't pick up on the comedy if there's any scariness mixed in with it. So I think a lot of time parents underestimate how potentially unsettling funny horror is to kids. Like, kids do not pick up on something being purposefully campy or cheesy. They just see the scary stuff and get scared. I mean, depending on the age, of course, and the individual. Dr. Leo Marvin. Dreyfus, that's right. Dr. Leo's a genius. His death therapy cured me, you genius. Actually, it just occurred to me how much of that whole, like, theme was ripped off by the TV show Monk. It's got a very similar relationship with his therapist. I mean, not as contentious, but similar vibes. Looks like I should have mixed even more of this. Demi, good morning. How are things on the beautiful island? Amy says, I've been quiet because I'm trying to figure out Python because it's more fun just to mess with it than actually watch lessons. Python, the scripting language that's used in like 3D programs like Maya. Or like a giant snake that you have to learn about that tries to strangle its victims. JD says, ever play the old Monkey Island series of games? Pirates of the Caribbean is very similar. Well, you could say that, or you could say that the Monkey Island games were very similar to the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland, because, I mean, that's been around since the 60s, I think. Adventure games always annoyed the snot out of me. I mean, I like the art and the writing and stuff, but man, the actual mechanics of just like randomly putting stuff together until you come across the particular combination of what the designer thought made sense, but always while trying to be too clever by half. Yeah, I did not get into that genre. I tried Tim Schafer's latest game about the boy and the girl, and there's like bird people. And I was really enjoying it until I started getting into the puzzles. Colton is saying, or a Monty, like a Monty Python. Yeah, maybe that's what she's studying. That'd be a good class. Amy says, yeah, the scripting language. One of my friends is teaching middle schoolers about simple coding, and she asked me to help her, so I have to learn a bit of it. And it's so much simpler than Java. I am allergic to all scripting. The closest I could come is like node-based systems where they actually stitch code together under the hood and you just like attach balls together with wires, and even that is too technical for me many times. Denise says, all is good here, just got to work. How are all of you? I'm pretty good except for my heater not working, and that's how I am. My heater doesn't work. That's how I am. Amy's good, though. JD Robertson says, don't forget the pixel hunting, where you had to put the mouse right in the exact spot or something wouldn't work. I don't remember that happening in the games that I played, but I may have just blocked those horrifying memories out of my head. I think the one I liked the most was Shadowgate. I played that on the NES. I think just because thematically it was the coolest to me. I mean, looking back, it was just a very generic, dark fantasy castle crawler. But, when you're a kid, you don't recognize when things are generic and cliched. Everything's new and cool. that thing about kids is, I think, why I ended up wasting about 5 years of development on my on the world I was world building since I was a teenager, because I just kept doing Tolkien stuff, like, and Dungeons and Dragons. Just anything that I saw that I thought was cool, I pretty much just copied it and put it in my world. And surprise, surprise, it turned out to be super generic and boring. But lessons learned. JD says, what was your first computer that was decent? Mine was an IBM Aptiva that cost $2,000 and is worth like $25 today. Before that, we had an Apple IIe. The Aptiva could play games though. The first real computer we had was an Apple IIc. And it played games. I played like a Conan game and a Space Invaders clone type game. My first computer as an adult was a Pentium 90, or a P90 as they called it. That must have been, let's see, I was in art school, so that would have been in 1994 or 5. Gotta figure out what to do about this gap here. See, there's this big undercut area. I wonder, should I cut a piece of plastic out and then cover that? I wonder if let's just try duct tape and see if that'll work. Damon says, my first was an Amiga 500. Wow, that's going back. Played games via 3.5s. Yep, I remember the 3.5 floppy disks. I saw a pretty funny picture on Facebook today where it was someone holding one of those disks, and he said that his kid saw him. He must have dug it out of the garage or something and said, cool, you 3D printed a picture, or 3D printed the save icon. Alright, I don't know if this tape approach is going to work. Can I access it from back here? I cannot. But I guess what I could do is make a little trench like so. Wow, easier said than done. Okay, make a little trench like so. Damon says the void looks like a bull's head if you look at it sideways. Does it? Let's see. I'll take your word for it. Oh, drat. Just work. No! Did you ever notice that duct tape likes to stick to itself? What's the deal with that? Alright, not the best looking solution yet, but it may come together. JD says, I saw a video of a very small child trying to play an old school Game Boy by touching the screen, and he was getting mad it wouldn't do anything. He was trying to swipe up and down and everything. Yeah, I saw that too. That was very good. Demi says, yeah, I'm glad I caught this. I was looking forward to watching the rest of this one. Sweet. My goal is to finish these two DemonHunter versions by the end of the weekend so that I can have the video out by the 1st, because I'm going to the DemonHunter concert on the 3rd of November, and I would like to give one of these copies to the singer, songwriter, founder of DemonHunter. Damon says, nah, the way you were looking at it, just rotate 90 degrees. Part you're working on is a horn. The channel below is the ear. Well, I mean, that is literally what it is. There's a horn and an ear, so it just happens to be a demon rather than a bull. But we are all, what is that word? Not subject to, deserving of, but there's a better word for it. I'll bet Amy knows. We are all something to our opinions. Entitled? That's the word, entitled. I should know, I'm a very entitled person. Okay. Time for another batch of goo. Damon says, oh, that makes sense. Would help if I had read the title. Reading, man. It could save your life one day. For instance, my heater stopped working. It's a gas heater, you know, that sends heat through all the vents. And my landlord, rather than coming over, because, you know, he doesn't live super close, he said, well, just open it up and reignite it, you know, with a little lighter or whatever. But rather than simply doing what he said, I read some words on the side of my heater that specifically said, "Do not put an open flame in here. This has a auto whatever flame device. You will blow yourself to smithereens if you try to stick a flame in here." So I listened to those words instead. We might not be streaming at this moment had I not listened to those words. Okay, so I've got to recover this area, and I've got to, I need to put a wall here, and some kind of channel here for the end of this horn. So I probably need just about as much as I had last time. Damon says, "I thought it was just a random void in a burl." Have you not been here when I put the face on? It's gonna be this. And it's good for me to keep putting it on here just to make sure I'm not screwing anything up randomly anyway, so. Like I need to fill in that area a little bit, fill in this area, wall there, channel here. You can probably just make a little bridge that the lights will go on. Let's see here. I wonder how much I can cut into the sides of these, if at all. It looks like there might be wiring everywhere, so I probably shouldn't. But it does seem needlessly wide. Anyway, we'll come back to this. Damon says, "Very cool." Well, thank you. I think it will be very cool when it's done. Okay, this one I'm going to try to get closer to the actual color because there's going to be, well, I guess I want it to be close to this color because it's got to blend into these areas. You know what, I think I'm going to mix in a little yellow at the start just to get it going in that direction. Then I can add other colors to taste. JD says, "How did your friend's wood project with the stained glass effect turn out? Was there ever any pics posted? I saw it in a previous video." Yeah, last time he was over, I showed a picture of it. That's when I learned that I could put graphics on the screen in OBS. I do not know if I can remember how to do that, and I certainly can't with these gloves right now. But it turned out really cool, I think. He gave it to the creators of Dead Cells at PAX, and they really liked it and displayed it at their booth. So I'd say it was a success. What happens when I put 2 drops of red? Ready to see what happens with 2 drops of red? Working on that, using that stained glass paint gave me some cool ideas for how to do even better stained glass for another project that I'll be doing at some point here, making a video about. Which is essentially mixing these tints into epoxy, and then applying that to clear plastic. Huh, it's turning out kind of just like weird McDonald's chicken nugget slurry pink. Not the color that I want. Try another 2 drops of red and a big ol' schmutz of yellow. I wonder if McDonald's has a patent on their Chicken McNugget slurry. Or no, it's not the McNuggets, it's actually their beef patties are like this color when it comes out of the like factory tubes. According to a documentary I saw. Who knows? Could be all slander, but it would not surprise me. Boy, I'm doing a really bad job at matching these colors. Okay, let's see. Looks like maybe it's just mostly brown. Maybe I shouldn't have put any red in it at all. Maybe just yellow and brown. Amy's saying dramatic random slow-mo. Now we just need music that matches it. Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully the next track will be more epic. Oh yeah, here we go. This is working. Yeah, Dummy, that slow motion is part of my super high production values that I'm adding to the stream. Pretty soon there's going to be explosions every 5 minutes. What else adds production value to a stream? I guess there could be like a pregnancy, like you find out one of the characters is pregnant. Since I'm the only character, I guess that just means I'm gonna have to gain a lot of weight. Let's see if I could do pregnant. How's that? Pretty good? Are you not entertained? Okay, time for new gloves. This is annoying. My hands are a little sweaty from the last time, which means putting these on is going to be a major challenge. Demi says, method acting, be the part. Exactly. If I can't get a pregnant lady on my stream, I'll be the pregnant lady on the stream. I don't know, do shows mostly, do they mostly introduce pregnancies when they're jumping the shark, essentially? They're like, we ran out of ideas. Let's make mom pregnant again for no reason. Okay, water. Amy says, or you could sculpt a pregnancy. Ooh. Demi says, feel that baby kick. Amy says, I'm sure sculptures are also counted as characters in the show. Oh, that's a good point. I have never sculpted a pregnant character before. I feel like I have been remiss in my duties of capturing one of the super vital and important elements of life. At least that's what I hear. Is that true? Do you really need pregnancy for life to happen? I'm not convinced. Alright, looks like my tape wall is actually holding up. I am impressed with myself. Damon says, or the actress's prego. Oh, as in like why shows have their characters get pregnant? Yeah, that's always better than trying to hide it, which is always, well, is often pretty funny to see. Like suddenly the actress is wearing really loose, billowy clothing. Lots of coats when it's warm outside. But the worst thing a show can do, if you ask me, the worst thing you can do is swap out an actor. Like, keep the character, but just change actors. Oh, that annoys the snot out of me. I hate it when movie series do that. I mean, well, some of my favorite movies did it, but they get away with it because they're like some of the best movies ever. Like The Dark Knight, for instance, has a different what's her face, Batman's love interest. Harry Potter had a different Dumbledore after, what did he only made it 2 movies. But again, it helped that the replacement Dumbledore was, I mean, it was basically an old guy with a beard, right? It's really hard to like mess that up or be totally different in that role. But the worst is when sitcoms did it. Back in the day, Roseanne switched out Becky, was that her name? The older sister. And then something recently, some other show recently switched out actors as well. This is important, guys. This needs to be talked about, or it'll keep happening. Sign my petition. Demi says, you should totally make a demon baby breaking out of a belly. Oh, actually, okay, remind me when my gloves are off, I do have a sculpture that's almost that. I did a portrait of my friend as a gift for him, and it's about the most disturbing thing I've ever made, and I'm almost ashamed of it, but it's so hilariously gross and evil that I can't put it in my portfolio or show it to anyone, but I'll show it on a live stream for a couple seconds if you remind me. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to paint this. Drat. Okay, for this part, uh-oh, what happened to my horn thing? Is it up here? Ah, I'm lost. Goes, oh, goes there, okay. Ron Clark, what's up, man? What's up? Demi says, I'll remind you. Awesome. Damon says, Becky swapped the first time because the actress wanted to finish college. Then Sarah Chalky came on. Then the original Becky came back 3 years later for a season, then left again. That's hilarious. Damon says, I'm just about done binge watching the series again on Prime. That is quite a storied history for that character, huh? I didn't know she came back later and then left again and then came back again. Was it did the same actress replace her both times she left? That goes there. This goes here. This is in place there. Why is this not working? There we go. Okay, so I still got to do the little ramp down there, fill in that ear, fill in, where else? That's filled in good. Just occurred to me that I can put the LED strip in kind of sideways and the light could still bounce up through the horn. Yeah, same actress, Damon says. When the original Becky came back again, they gave new Becky a bit part as a neighbor. What? No, that's terrible. Both are coming back for the new Roseanne miniseries. I didn't know there was going to be a new one. Amy says, that must suck for the new Becky actor. Yep. Dottie says, Damon is the second Becky, the same girl who played on Scrubs? Oh, said Damon, I assume there's a comma, is the second Becky the same girl who played on Scrubs? Damon says, she went on to have an amazing run on Scrubs and is the voice of Mom on Rick and Morty. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know. You're talking about, was her name Elliot on Scrubs? Like JD's on again, off again, will they, won't they partner? I did not know she was the mom on Rick and Morty. That's pretty awesome and hilarious. Just kind of putting some random little spiky elements down here. I don't know if they'll stay or not, but I got the clay, so I might as well. Does this work? Alrighty. I think that'll work as a fine foundation. Do a little more slicing here, just so I don't have to carve this when it's hardened. All right. I think we're ready to do one more pass on the old salt dude. Demi says, gloves are off. Evil baby sculpture, please. Oh, all right, all right. You know what? Let me do the spray on this guy, and then remind me in one moment when I get back from that. So that can be drying while I dig around for sweet baby pics. Just show you how the salt's doing now. There's still definitely some wet spots, but the parts where it's dry looks really darn cool. Yeah, you'll just have to take my word for it. All right, be right back. Alright. Ugly baby picture time. Ooh, look at that. Can you guys see that? That's my friend Mike Haney. Looks very much like him. I'm trying to remember how this came about, but I think I was doing sculptures, portraits of various people around the office, and I don't remember if he asked for one or not, but this is what I gave him, and he kept it in his shoebox. I think he still has it to this day. This is like 15 years ago. I wonder how his wife feels about it. He got married recently. I wonder if he still has it in his shoebox. I should ask him. He's just finishing up the game of, what is it called? The latest zombie game where there's like hordes of zombies pouring out at you all at once. Days Gone? Is that what it's called? It's not out yet. It's almost out. He's a pretty awesome artist himself. Damon says, that is gnarly. Your friend needs to moisturize. Yeah, definitely. Demi says, hilariously gross. Love it. Amy says, I feel like it's supposed to be scary, but it's too comical to be scary. It's amazing. Yeah, I was hoping for it to just be disturbingly funny. And Dottie says, OMG, that is disturbing. I love it. Good. I'm glad I didn't scar anyone. Generally, I would probably not show that, as I try to keep this channel PG-13, but I don't think any of you guys are kids, so we'll be alright. I mean, technically, Amy, you're a minor, right? But so, retroactively get your parents' permission to view this horrendously gory channel before the YouTube police come for me. Amy said, one day someone will find it at a thrift store and be very confused. that would be so amazing that I almost want to take it back from him and put it in a thrift store. I wonder how long it would be on the shelves. Alright, let's see how the latest salty salt trick worked. Damon says, I'm a young and spry 36-year-old. Awesome. Same age as my wife. I like 36-year-olds. Demi says, haha, we know kids no more. That's right. I've destroyed everyone's innocence. So the theory now is that with water on my brush, I will be dissolving the salt out from under the paint, leaving the layer underneath, which, if you are just joining us, is conveniently rust colored. We might actually, I'm going to try a toothbrush. Amy said, turn 16 Saturday. Oh, happy birthday. Did you get anything cool? Dottie says, I'm the old lady of the group at 54. Oh, old lady Dottie. I am right behind you, Dottie. Amy says this age range is pretty fantastic. I agree. I love diversity in every direction. That is how you get the best ideas and the best feedback and grow the most as a person. Huh, some of this salt is not wanting to come up. Which just means I will scrub harder. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is it rubs away all of the top layer. But actually up here it was mostly salt, so most of it should go anyway. Come on, Amy, let's hear what you got for your birthday. If you don't tell me, I'm just going to assume that you got a bunch of Barbies and My Little Ponies. Amy said, I got a small bag and a wallet, as well as a really long, floofy skirt. I love the skirt, but I bike to school, so I have very rare opportunities to wear it. Is it one of those that you can twirl around and it billows out? Those are the kind that Heather likes. I wonder if there's a faster / better way to do this. I wonder if I just dunk this in a tub of water, would it just dissolve the salt out, or does it need the mechanical action of scrubbing? Amy says, I didn't really ask for much since I got a ridiculous amount of art supplies from a friend, the airbrush and such. And then, yes, it's awesome, it's big, and it looks majestic. Ooh, a majestic dress. Now I'm intrigued. Does it look like when I think of a majestic dress, I think of Sarah from Labyrinth. when she's dancing in that dream bubble with David Bowie. She's got like these massive shoulder puffs and like dangling chain bits all over, and like cool headdress. I think I'm remembering it right. Which, by the way, Amy, if you have not seen Labyrinth, you really need to see it. Every artist needs to see Labyrinth. I'm sorry, it's just the rules. I don't make them, I just enforce them. Most movies that I really love for nostalgia reasons, I will not like try to force people to, I won't coerce. But Labyrinth is an exception and Princess Bride is an exception. Those are two must-see movies. I don't care how old you are, what you appreciate, have to see those movies. No, I take that back. Labyrinth is have to see if you're an artist. Non-artists don't have to see Labyrinth. It's got plenty of cheesy, obnoxious things that non-artists will just be so annoyed by, and they won't get the benefit of seeing all the incredible art, so it's not worth it to them. Damon says, so 80s. That's right. Amy says, I haven't seen Labyrinth in a while. I think I saw it, or at least part of it, a couple years back. Alright, well, time to revisit it. Brush your teeth and watch Labyrinth. Those are my two orders. Damon says, you need to use a small fingernail brush or a bath scrub brush. I don't know what a fingernail brush is, but I do know what a bathtub scrubber brush is. I'm trying to think if I know where they are. I mean, I don't want to use the one that's been used in the bathtub. But I suppose I could buy one for like $1.50 at Walmart while I'm getting those poster frames. Well, NASA says it's looking good. Yeah, I think so. I think on attempt 2 I learned that I definitely need to let the salt dry all the way before I go in and scrub it off. And I got a pretty good idea of how to apply the salt now. Amy says, I haven't seen Princess Bride. Okay, well, here's the thing. People who have not seen The Princess Bride are terrible people and need to rectify their sins immediately. Run, do not walk, to your local Blockbuster Video and rent the VHS tape The Princess Bride immediately. It is quite simply almost the best movie ever made. It is certainly the most quotable movie ever made. And that's saying a lot because Monty Python and the Search for the Holy Grail is incredibly quotable. Too quotable, in fact. Monty Python became a victim of its own quotability. It became obnoxious because so many people quoted it so much. Princess Bride, however, has an understated charm that Monty Python does not. Monty Python is never understated. And so when people overquote The Princess Bride, it's not as obnoxious. This is my theory that I'm currently concocting and crafting before your very eyes and ears. You're welcome, world. Amy says, I have! I said I have! I have! Oh, sorry, I probably blew out your speakers again. Okay, my bad. I've seen Princess Bride. You're right. I don't know how I read that. Completely wrong. I guess I was just feeling accusatory towards you since you haven't seen Labyrinth in so long. JD says, I recall that salt reacts to acids and people can pour it into soda to cause a bubbling reaction like Mentos candy. You can probably Google it. Wonder if that would do anything cool. And Dottie says, have fun storming the castle. Think it'll work? It would take a miracle. See, I can quote the entire movie, but I won't. But having said that, it's not as obnoxious as if I was singing Brave Sir Robin ran away, or there's some lovely muck down here, or is it filth? Lovely filth down here. Maybe it's the voices that make Monty Python so obnoxious when people quote it. It probably is. Anyway, Amy, now that I see that I was wrong, I forgive you for typing it in such a way that I read it wrong, and I forgive you for thinking that you had not seen The Princess Bride. However, if you come on here and say that it's not one of the best movies ever, I will have to unforgive you, like that movie Unforgiven. That is a movie you don't need to see. It's fine, it's not a bad movie, but it's not a must-see. It's not one of those that makes you a bad person if you haven't seen it. I might just soak this overnight, see what happens. I was gonna do the next salt layer on the front and let that dry overnight, but I'm having a concern that if I let this dry again, all the salt that I wasn't able to scrape off could just sit there festering and like being the wrong pH balance for the paint or the resin or something and like eat holes in it eventually. So I really don't want that to happen. And certainly soaking it in water is not going to hurt any of the finish that I already have. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that and call it a night. Anybody want a peanut? Good one, Damon. Also, that one can get annoying because if you do the voice, you know. It's not my fault being the biggest and the strongest. I don't even exercise. See, I'm really bad at voices, so automatically whenever I try it's going to be bad. But still, even if you could do a perfect Andre the Giant impression, I feel like you could probably wear those lines out. But things like, hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. That can never get old. That can't get old. Amy says, my skirt is not nearly as majestic as Sarah's in the Labyrinth. Oh, well, is it half as majestic? Damon says, didn't Eastwood win Best Director for Unforgiven? Yeah, it won Best Picture too. Okay, sure. Now I'm trying to think if I've even seen it. I think I may not have actually seen it. Was that his directorial debut? He's directed quite a few, like, really great movies. Demi says, hey Josh, sculpting question. I've been trying to sculpt a skull for the longest time and I get the features looking good, but the proportions are always kind of off. And ends up looking more like a Darth Vader mask instead. If it's looking like a Darth Vader mask, I would guess that your nasal cavity might be too low. Like, you should look at a photo of a skull and like put your ruler up to it and measure how, you know, the distance between things, and then put that to your sculpture. You know, you back it up and you do that thing with your thumb where you're like, okay, like this hole is that far from that hole, and then you take your sculpture and you move your sculpture far enough so that you can get exactly the same proportion, and then that's how you can measure those proportions. There's a word for that and I can't remember it, but you should look up that word that I can't remember, and I'm sure there's tutorials on how to do that. Amy says, I don't watch nearly enough movies to declare a favorite, but I really like The Princess Bride. Oh, thank God. Okay. You can stay then, Amy. As long as you really like it. Demi says, any help with skulls? I mean, when you're learning how to do a thing, if there's any way to get an actual reference, like a 3, even if it's like not the best toy, like there's Halloween stuff everywhere. I don't know if there's Halloween stuff where you live, but there should be skulls everywhere, and there's going to be a variety of like cartoony and stupid to some that are fairly realistically proportioned. I would recommend picking up one of those and try to sculpt based off of that. Damon says, you should if you like westerns anyway. I like some westerns. I really like the remake of 3:10 to Yuma. I really like the remake of what's the one with the like 14-year-old girl and Jeff Bridges? Can't remember what that, but that was super good. So I like some westerns, but I'm not like attracted to them. Amy said, at least it's the most majestic skirt in my very small collection. Okay, it's good to have a range. Dane says, good morning from Denmark. Just got out of bed. Oh, perfect, just in time for the stream to end. Welcome, Dane. Demi says, rule of thumbs? I don't think that's what it's called. I mean, I know a rule of thumb is like a general rule for how you do things or approach situations. So I don't know. Damon says, and yeah, you should watch Unforgiven then. Okay. I'll add it to my list of things I need to watch. I love Gran Torino. That's another one he directed within the past, I don't know, 6 or 7 years that I really liked. What do I have that I can soak this in? Do I have a tub this big? Question mark? I must somewhere. I guess I could just put it in a cookie tray, flip it this way, and soak it. That'll work. Okay, anyway, that's enough for tonight. We've been going 3 hours and 10 minutes, and I probably need to make some dinner. So, I'll see y'all. I'm pretty sure, like I've been doing every weekend. I always say I might do it, I might not, but I pretty much always do because it's fun and I like hanging out with you guys, and I'm doing work out here anyway. Why not turn on a camera? So I'll stick around, answer a few more questions if anyone has them in the chat, and I'll see y'all later. Oh, wait. Demi says, I've watched plenty of tutorials on skulls and I'm still practicing. I'm taking your advice and not being afraid to squish it and start over. Excellent. Also, don't be afraid to finish something that you don't like set it aside and do the next one. And it can often be valuable to look at your old piece and keep reminding yourself, okay, the proportions look wrong here, so I'm going to make sure I compensate for that in my new one. So both valid techniques. But yeah, number one priority I'd say is get yourself a little 3-dimensional skull. That'll be super useful. Okay. Good night, everyone, and good day, Dane. Have a great day, and you too, Demi, at work. And bye, Dottie, and Amy, and Damon, and everyone else. Ta-ta. Ta-ta for now. As Tigger says, TTFN.